Welcome back to the JDW SportsTalkShow. In today's episode, we will be talking about whether or not the Buffalo Bills can continue their successes from last year. Now, I really think it's possible that they're going to continue to dominate offensively and continually to become better on defense as well. Josh Allen had a breakout year, as we all know. One of the better quarterbacks last year. I'm very easily willing to put him in the top 5. It'll probably go like Rodgers, Mahomes. Those two are flippable. And then maybe Josh Allen, and you could put anyone else there, like Russell maybe, Watson maybe, but I'd probably stick Allen in at that third spot. I think that's where he belongs, and I think Josh Allen is an elite quarterback, and I think he's going to continue to dominate in the NFL. And then he has some really solid weapons in Stephon Diggs. They signed a guy in Emmanuel Sanders. They have some weapons for their guy in Josh Allen. I believe they still have Cole Beasley, who is another solid option. The Bills also have, a very solid tight end group. They have, what's his name, Dawson Knox. He's good. I think he's a bit of an underrated tight end. He can get the job done. He's a good receiving threat, and he's a decent blocker. Very good all-around tight end. I think he's more of a receiving threat, though. I think he's a really solid vertical tight end. He could catch, but he does have those games where he's a bit inconsistent. He has those games where he does really well, and then he's not as good for a few games. I've heard that he's a little consistent, and I've seen he's a little inconsistent. But and then they did improve the running back situation, which was dramatically needed. Well, maybe they didn't address it amazingly. But they did definitely add a piece that can make a difference in Matt Breida. He's a speedster, and then you have Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Both of the guys struggled last year. I was a huge fan of Devin Singletary when he came out, but he has seemed to, not be as good as he was in his rookie campaign. He showed a lot of promise, but he never really showed it again. He was still half decent last year, but not really, what you want to see. And then you go to a guy like Zach Moss, who is a very solid guy who was drafted fairly early. Maybe saying very solid is a little bit of a stretch saying that, but I think this Bills team has a lot of talent that can really lead them to the Super Bowl. I think they still have some work to do. Their offensive line is really solid. It got even better throughout the year last year. The Bills' defense is okay. It wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be last year. We thought that the Bills were going to be a powerhouse defensively, but it turns out Josh Allen has a career year. He has a breakout year, and they're a powerhouse offensively, and their defense actually took a step back. But I think their defense will come back up. They have a lot of solid playmakers on defense. They have their guys in Jordan Poyer. They have plenty of guys on the defensive end to make a difference. And yeah, this Bills defense really has a ton of playmakers all over it. You go to the linebacker group in Tremaine Edmonds. You have Matt Milano, two very valuable guys who are really good run stoppers. I think they're a little more old school fashion linebackers, but they could still pass coverage. Very solid guys. And then you have the defensive line, which is very solid. You have a top 10 pick from a few years ago in Ed Oliver. You have the guy in Jerry Hughes, who is a solid guy. The Buffalo Bills definitely have a defense going here. And I forgot to mention Tre'Davious White. They signed someone else. No. It's Micah Hyde who I missed. But, and then I believe I think they have Levi Wallace, who can step in and be a solid guy to step up. They have Mario Addison. They really have some players on this team that can really, show out and continue to be a dominant team next year. But will they win the Super Bowl? Will they get to the Super Bowl? I really don't know, because the AFC is the loaded it has ever been. You have the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Tyreek Hill, and then you have your Browns, your Cleveland Browns, who are dramatically improved. I get, their pass is kind of a joke, but if you come back to last year, they're a really solid team. And then you see what they did in the draft. I think they're really ready to take that next step as well. That's going to be a lethal team. I mean, you have the up and coming Colts who traded for Carson Wentz, who can be a threat. There's plenty of teams in this AFC that can really pose a threat to this Buffalo Bills team and the Kansas City Chiefs and such. The Titans could run all over you with Derrick Henry. And then you have the Jaguars, who can be a surprise team. I don't think they're really gonna compete for anything big, but I think they could surprise and maybe get a playoff berth. And then you go to the Chargers, are up and coming with Justin Herbert. They made some solid signings. They have some really good talent on that team. I don't think they're gonna be contenders, but I think they could be fairly decent. And then you have the Broncos, who's definitely a young and upcoming team, a very young team that can really if this team could really mature a little bit and become a little better, the quarterback is an issue, but they can be a threat as well. There's just so many teams. You have the up and coming Miami Dolphins, you have the Patriots coming back, with all those big signings. And then you go to the north, and then you still have the Ravens as well, who can contend. I don't think the Steelers are really a threat right now. I don't know if I don't think the Bengals are really a threat as of right now. They still have some work to do. But my point across is this AFC is really crowded, and I don't know if the Bills could really contend for that Super Bowl, but they're definitely up there with the better teams. Elite offense. They're definitely one of the best teams. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe not contenders, but they are contenders. Don't be surprised if you see them in the Super Bowl. Don't be surprised if you see them in the conference championship. It's just that the AFC is so loaded, it's going to be really difficult for any team to make it to the Super Bowl. The playoffs are going to be really difficult to get to as well. And then you have less bye. You have another week of play time, and you don't have another bye. There's only one bye in the playoffs now for each conference, which I don't really agree with, but how are you going to add into, it's difficult there, but it's really going to be difficult. It's becoming more and more difficult to really advance in this league. So I think they're going to be really good next year again. Conference, the AFC Championship, maybe not, just because of how low it is. I'm not saying they're bad, but the AFC is so loaded. There are many teams that can make the championship. The Chiefs are probably locked to make it, most likely. But like I said, there's so much competition. They're really not a lock. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what Josh Allen has to put together next year. Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks last season, without a doubt. I'm excited to see him go back to work and bring this Bills team to something they have never done before, and that is win the Super Bowl. So let's see if they could do it. I think they can. I just think it's I'm not saying it's a long shot because they're bad. I'm saying it's a long shot because of how crowded the AFC is. So let me know what you Bills fans think. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think the Bills are ready to compete for a Super Bowl now? Well, obviously they are, but it's just with all of the competition in the AFC, it's gonna be tough. But really excited to see what this team has to offer. So if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you later.